second, so I am really sorry. So we'll finish this up so I can get to the announcement and everything, future plans, stuff like that. So I have no idea what the hell happened. That was weird.
Next up on this boring Wednesday is a song to get your blood pumping.
Okay, so my suspicions and what I had heard was correct. They didn't really change anything on the ending. So, yesterday when I finished Claire's, I kind of elaborated on what her ending was. Leon's ending in the original, for those of you who haven't played, it was very, very similar to Claire's, in the sense that he went instead of Claire to fight Birkin, and so the train car gets overtaken. Glory! So the train car gets overtaken by Birkin. Leon climbs over the top of the train to the room that Sherry goes into to hit the brakes on the train for them to all get off the train. And as they all escape, it blows up, yada yada yada. So the dialogue that's contained was different in terms of you would see Claire and Sherry with like smoke on their face from the fire, and Claire looks at Sherry. Claire's like, "Glad, I'm finally glad it's over." And Sherry, your face looks terrible. And she's like, "No worse than you, Claire." And Leon just gets up and goes, "It's time to go." And Claire and Sherry just kind of like puzzled, like, what? And Claire's like, what are you talking about? Go where? And he's like, it's time to get moving. She's like, moving? To where? And he looks back and says, hey, it's up to us to take out Umbrella. And then it cuts to the credits. And that one was the canon ending that Capcom followed for the later Resident Evil games. The song's pretty good, though. Might turn this up a little bit. There's two sides to every story. The defeat of the pain of the glory. It all burns away. But how did it go so wrong? Now it's all gone. Forget yesterday. It ain't worth the pain. It ain't worth the pain. The pain of remembering. Actually, I wanted to hear that song, so... And now that I'm listening to the remake soundtrack, I'm noticing that what followed was different, so... So, yeah. Playing it from start to finish as both Leon A, Claire A, Leon B, Claire B, I was a little disappointed with some of the differences that they took out. Like, there were noticeable changes depending on whose playthrough you went through. Like, if you did Claire A, Leon B, which was canon, or Leon A and Claire B, it was, those differences really stood out and gave the game a lot of value, and knowing that essentially, it didn't feel like you were playing the same thing over and over. As I said, I don't know if I covered it in some of my previous broadcasts, but like, for example, the way Ada dies will differ depending on which Leon scenario you're playing. If you're playing Leon A, she falls from the bridge, just like we saw here. But if you play Leon B in the original, she protects you from Tyrant, and he grabs her, and she shoots him in the eye, and he slams her into a power panel that activates the self-destruct sequence. Noticeable things of difference were, for Claire, was, if you played Claire A, Sherry got infected. If you played Claire B, Sherry didn't get infected. She just disappeared for a little while and all of a sudden came back. But she was not infected. There were also more meeting points between the two in the original. Like in Leon A in the original, he met up with her in the STARS office after finding Chris's diary. He met up with her in, like, via radio contact, and a couple other places. Claire is slightly different. If you played Claire A, she runs into Leon after she runs into Sherry in the hallway past the STARS office, which was different in the original game, I'll admit. But there were noticeable differences and less interactions than I wish. But yeah, I guess I can't complain. The overall game, the graphics, it was pretty smooth. Even though I dealt with Mr. X already in a couple of different areas, like I knew he was gone, or it really had my blood pumping. I could feel my heart beating crazy. So, it's really good to get that experience for a game that I technically, based on the original, I've already played. At least I got a B on his because I kept it under 5 hours. And I only saved twice. I probably could have lowered that had I not hit continue so many times and it just left the time. I probably could have kept that around like 4, but... And I honestly have no idea if the cutscenes stop the timer or not. So let's see what we got. Probably just take me back to the menu, yeah. Yep. Story Master. Bonus infinite item weapons have been added to the in-game box, which is the infinite knife. Records. Let's see, what was it? One super slick spy, so I can now use the EMF visualizer in the models. Complete Vermin Exterminator, that unlocked the infinite combat knife, so I can actually like cut and stab enemies and that thing will never go. Story Master, can see, look at Sherry and the, infected. So, alright, so there was nothing else, I think? Yep, nothing else. Okay. So that being said, no new concept art has been unlocked. Models, still got some to do. That's what I wanted to double check, the files. How many was I actually missing after doing all that? Human power plant, no, that wasn't it. Where was it? Yeah, I was missing 2. So yeah, I'm probably gonna end up playing this in my off time, here and there. See if I can improve on it, and see if I can find these other few things that I didn't get. You guys saw, this was straight all blind. Like, the most I had of any prior knowledge was a few tips and tricks, hints. Previous, I would do, like, I didn't have the first recording, like the first playthrough I did of Leon's, the first blind bid, it didn't record, so I had to go back and do it again, so I had prior knowledge, so it helped me speed things up. And then since the campaigns are so similar, whenever I'd make it further with Claire, it's like, okay, I got an idea of what's coming for Leon, so it was easier to get past on his. And then when I got further on Leon's, it's like, okay, I got a general idea of what's coming for Claire, so I know how to do it. That's the only further advance that I got, like, see into it. Everything else was completely blind. So if we almost put this in a trophy format, 55 out of 87 is not bad at all. I mean, it's really not. So these are just some things that I need to work on for personal, like, gratification, you know, get better at it, and so forth and so on. So I'm probably going to do that in my off time, but for the most part, and I'm probably going to look at the extra modes on my time. I'm not going to stream that because of other things that I want to do. Yeah, I do want some kind of depth to what I'm playing, you know, and something to enjoy. You're not just seeing me goof off. So these almost seem kind of like that sort of thing. Maybe I might check out one of these, like a bonus feature or something, and check that out. But yeah, so these are going to be done in my off time, not non-stream. So anyway, 3 B's and a C. Damn, I got to get better. So if I want an A, I think it's like I got to do the game in 4.5 hours or less. Or less than 5 hours for an S. I think it's 2.5 hours less for an S plus. And then 4 hours or less for the second run for like an S. And I think it's still like 2.5 or 3 hours for an S plus or something like that. So I got a lot of work to do. Casual, police injured, noir, Arkley. Jacket, tank top, noir, military, Elsa. Okay, so now that I'm done with Resident Evil 2, and I'm not going to be streaming this anything more, unless some type of DLC comes out and really just fucking, like, you know, that's something I want to show. That is something that's going to have to happen. So I've been thinking about it. And some of the people who watch my streams aren't completely up to date with the Resident Evil franchise. So what I'm going to try and do, and I'm not sure how I'll do this yet with YouTube, since I do have a YouTube account, maybe I'll try and stream there for some of these, what I'm planning to do. So I'm going to do, for starting Monday, I am going to do Devil May Cry 5. Blind playthrough, haven't touched any of it. I haven't even played a demo, so I really have no knowledge about it. So, starting Tuesday, however, and I'm going to try and get some work done on this to make my playthrough easier, we're going to go do a few games that aren't completely 100% in my memory base. Like, I've played through them before, and to help a friend kind of catch up, because he's only really seen anything of Resident Evil with this playthrough, and another playthrough of somebody he follows on Twitch for Resident Evil 3. I'm not going to name any names. So starting on next Tuesday, we're going to be jumping into Resident Evil Origins Collection, which is a combo. I'll zoom up there a little bit more so y'all can see the cover if you haven't already, which is a combo of Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 Remake. So we're going to start with Resident Evil 0. I'm going to try and get through that. And I'm going to try and get through that fairly quickly. And then I haven't played Resident Evil 1 Remake since it was first released on the GameCube. So that one's going to be a little shaky in my memory. 0 I've played fairly recently that I do remember some of the things, and it left a lasting impression. So once we get done with that, I'm going to also here soon get a digital copy of Resident Evil Code Veronica. And once I'm done with Resident Evil 0 and 1, we're going to move on to Code Veronica, since there's already a playthrough of Resident Evil 2. And hopefully Capcom, please, will make Resident Evil 3 for us. They said, you know, if you go off of what they said, I'm hoping that they will put that together and we'll just have, like, really great, scary horror games to go back to. So once Code Veronica is done, we jump into Resident Evil 4. The man is back. Check it out. So I'm also going to try and keep this somewhat true to time frame and chronological order and everything. So then I think I'm going to try and stream a day through YouTube, since I have a YouTube account, obviously. And I'm going to try and stream live a reaction, even though I've seen it, but just kind of color commentary, point out some things, maybe help connect the dots based on some things that are said, of the first CG movie, Resident Evil Degeneration, because I think time frame wise it falls after 4, but before 5. And speaking of things that fall before 5, once we're done with that, we jump into Resident Evil Revelations, which I have a physical copy of, so I'm going to try streaming that. And then we're going to do... And this is where it gets interesting, because after that, we jump into Resident Evil 5. With all the DLC, which I'm not 100% sure if I'll do the DLC, which does add some context to the story. I don't know. Maybe we will. So upon that, and the bonus thing is my roommate has graciously agreed to co-op with me on that one. So by the time I get to that point, maybe we'll get him a physical copy of the game, so he can you can check out his playthrough via his stream, which you know, check him out. He does post a few good things every once in a while when he wants to. Look him up under Severin Hisanamate. And either we're going to co-op and split screen, in which you can check out my stream to see both of us going at the same time, and I'll try and position my camera where you can kind of see him screen, because he's never played Resident Evil 5. He played a little bit of it while we tested it out to see how well the stream picked up co-op, because I'm still learning things about the stream. So, but worst case scenario, I'll work on getting him a copy, and he can play on his, and you can either tune into my stream and watch from my playthrough point of view, or you can tune into his, or if you're crazy like some people I know in the world, you can open up 2 separate browsers on your computer and watch us both at the same time, if you can tolerate hearing us both go at the same time, and probably picking us both up on each other's mics. So, that being said, once we're done with that, RE5, I'm going to try and talk him into doing another one. This one's going to be digital, of Resident Evil Revelations 2. That one is probably going to drive him crazy, because depending on how we work it out, either he's going to be just somebody who can whack away with a crowbar, or he's going to be a defenseless little girl, one or the other. Either way, both of them suit him. He cries himself to sleep at night. No, Daddy, don't touch me there. Love you, Seb. So, once we're done with Revelations 2... well, actually, I think after RE5, what we're going to do is we're going to try and do, again, through YouTube, a live broadcast and stream reaction. I've seen it before, again, color commentary, and to share with everybody else, and I will provide details as they come along, of the second CGI movie of Resident Evil Damnation. And the only reason I'm doing specifically the Damnation ones is because they fall more, the CG ones, is they fall more in line with the game chronology. So, And I don't, for those of you who haven't seen them, I don't want to spoil too many things. So the only thing I will tell you is the other reason that I'm involving them is all three involve Leon. So following that up, so then after Damnation, which is the second CG film, we'll do Revelations 2. Then, with hopefully aid of my roommate once again, we will check out Resident Evil 6, which a lot of people give it, crap for, but, I am a big believer of gamer's choice. Not every style of gameplay is going to appeal to everyone. I very much enjoyed aspects of Resident Evil 6. Do I agree that they could have done better? Yes. And I will even go as far as to agree that maybe they were trying to overachieve with everything that they were trying to do. Maybe a little too overambitious. But I really, it almost followed suit with almost every RE game at that point. They had two sides to every story. You had got the Rebecca and Billy in Resident Evil 0. I'm not going to go into too many details for people who watch that have never seen the Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 1, Chris and Jill. RE2, Claire and Leon. RE3 was Jill and the little bit of play from Carlos. RE4, Leon and Ada, ironically enough. Revelations was a bounce back and forth between Jill and Chris and another group of people that we had never heard about until Resident Evil Revelations. RE5 focused on Chris and a woman named Sheva, and due to some of the DLC, you get to see some stuff about Chris and Jill and somebody else. So RE6 Revelations bounced back and forth between Claire and Barry Burton, who will get elaborated on in RE1. And then, so RE6, I appreciate what they tried to do. They tried to keep that system of you got to see multiple stories. I think the only place they went wrong was they tried to put too many in there. They should have kept the process simple. They should have kept it clean, only include at most maybe 4 characters. Going with a total of 7, I think, was pushing the bar a little bit. But, again, player's choice, in my opinion. Overall, I actually enjoyed Resident Evil 6. A lot of people give it hate, but I really liked it. I really did. So, for those of you who tune in, if you haven't seen it before, make up your mind what you think about it. No one's forcing you. I'm going to respect your opinion. You can choose to talk with me about it. You can choose not to talk with me about it. Like I said, you got my email down below. Feel free to shoot me an email as soon as I can figure out how to get back in there. Feel free to shoot me an email. We'll chit-chat about it, just leave a comment on one of my videos on my YouTube channel. Or, hey, I got a Facebook page. Check me out at Strife Eclipse Gaming on Facebook. And, leave a comment. Send a message. I will gladly talk with you. I'm a fan of all sorts of games. I play Final Fantasy XIV, Castlevania. If you want to hook up in game sometime, hey, let me know. I am all for it. You want to talk? I am willing to listen. You want to chew the fat a little bit on games? Go right ahead. I am all for it. But, just respect my opinion. I'll respect yours. Respect other people's opinions. Don't put anybody down like that. There's no point in downsizing and hurting somebody's feelings and walking all over them because you don't agree with them, and totally making them lose interest in doing something anymore because you've made them feel like crap for liking something. If you can't find a mutual ground to see where they're coming from, what they like about something, what they don't, then just agree to disagree and walk away from it. You talked it out, so forth and so on. So, yeah, feel free, shoot me messages. I am always willing to respond and chit-chat, whatever you guys want to do. So, that being said, this was about another 2-hour vid. I got to figure out if I can attach these two, or I'm just going to upload them separately. It's going to be horrible since the network failure. So, anyway, thank you all for joining me. We are finally done with Resident Evil 2 Remake. Overall, 2 thumbs up on the game. Had a blast. Graphics were great. Gore was real. Terror was there. Scared me even though I knew what was coming. The heart was pounding. Very much enjoyed it. Oh, and the last other thing here is once I get done with RE6, we're going to be checking this out. This is probably one of the few Resident Evil games I have owned since release and have not played it. I played maybe the first 10-15 minutes of it. So beyond the first 10-15 minutes of it, depending on how quickly you progress through things, I know nothing about this game. So I'm actually looking forward to giving you a blind playthrough on that. The last update I'm going to give you is I'm going to try and do it, and I just realized that there was an error on my part with my collection of stuff. And I will see if I can rectify that soon enough. But once since I've got a long series of games to go through here, probably once I finish with Devil May Cry 5, because I'm willing to do main story, maybe I might check out Bloody Palace and air some of that and see what happens from there. But once I finish with that, I'm looking at possibly on Mondays streaming a new set of games that I haven't checked out. I've owned them, but I haven't checked them out. And I'm thinking about doing the Tomb Raider reboot series. So Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And seeing what those come from. The only problem is I got to get my hands on a PS4 copy of Rise of the Tomb Raider. So... But yeah, I haven't played any of those, and I think maybe I'll use that to replace Devil May Cry and Resident Evil. And I don't know, we'll figure something out. But that's generally the idea I'm going for. So if you guys have any opinions, comments, suggestions, drop them in the comment section. These videos will be up on YouTube before midnight Pacific Standard Time. So if you guys get a chance to watch these from start to finish and want to leave a comment or whatever, go for it. And I check them out. You know, I run over them every couple days and check for comments and stuff. So, you know, I'm not super popular, so it's easy for me to keep track of this stuff a little easier. And I'm hoping to expand this, but I'm always willing to listen and talk and so forth and so on. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for Rain, who stuck with me for all this and this creature, fester, mayhem, monstrosity, and epic headshots and just brutality on both enemies' parts and my part too. You know, I was not nice as I progressed through the game. I started being very, very assholish. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, have fun, keep gaming, game hard or go home, and I'll check you guys next week with Devil May Cry 5.